Darren Rovell here with Leigh Steinberg, who I believe in April, it'd be the 50th anniversary from Steve Bartkowski. You'll be an agent for 50 years. Did I nail that?
I think we already hit it last year.
Oh, we did?
Because you have to count 75 as well.
Ah, see, it's my counting problem.
Yeah, 75
Awesome.
as well as 24.
Okay, so was he your college roommate, or you just went to school? How did that work out?
I was a dorm counselor working my way through law school, and they moved the freshman football team into the dorm. And Steve and I met and spent time. And then later, I graduated from law school and was just about ready to take my first job. And Bart had been the first player picked in the first round of the draft.
Kind of works out well.
And he asked me to represent him, but Darren, there was no legal right of representation in those days. Teams could just slam the phone down and say, "We don't deal with agents."
Oh my God.
The field was so rudimentary, nothing looked like today. But anyway, Bartkowski got the largest rookie contract in NFL history, and there we were.
And then over the years, you've had Super Bowl parties. We're at what year now in parties?
38.
38. So my first Steinberg Super Bowl party, I want to say, I think San Diego at the aquarium.
Miami was the Sea Aquarium. Houston was an aquarium.
Oh.
San Diego was a zoo.
Okay. I remember eating sushi looking at fish and felt bad. I'm like, am I eating your brother? But always a great party. You know, what do you think right now of the state of the game? The slotted contracts, which have been around for a long time, but mostly something that I doubt you could ever imagine, the NIL being able to have contact with a college athlete and arrange deals.
It is the law of unintended consequences because all they wanted to do was get college players from disadvantaged backgrounds who couldn't work during the school year a little extra money. And they'd have been happy with $5,000. They would have thought they hit the jackpot.
And it was supposed to be name, image, and likeness. I was supposed to get me my jersey with the guy's name on the back. It was supposed to get me finally the video game back. And now it's become complete free agency, whereby if I think I'm not an NFL quarterback, I'm going to go to a different school every year and make $1 million at each place.
Which completely subterfuges the whole college experience. And when you have a LSU commit who is going to make just $4 million, now get a Michigan alum to give him $14 million. It's free agency for those players, but also at the transfer portal level, which means I think we're eventually going to see that 4 conferences will elevate from the rest, and they'll fire the NCAA, hire their own people, and
there's no reason to have the umbrella anymore.
No, you can negotiate the contracts as a conference yourself, and you can set the rules. But anyway, it's going to be the haves and the have-nots because it'll affect women's sports, non-revenue sports, and and our business. So I'm looking for role models that'll retrace their roots, mature self-starters. Now all of a sudden, instead of me meeting that player at 21, I'm meeting him at 15. I'm not in any way prepared to talk to a 15-year-old about second career and his future and the rest.
It's wild. What do you think is ultimately going to happen? Do you think this can go on forever, or are we going to have to kind of retread because we've just gotten out of control?
Well, 3 big trends happen simultaneously, reasonably simultaneously, that alter everything. The first was conference realignment. The second is,
which makes no sense. Like how the Rutgers is traveling to USC on a Wednesday for a basketball game, or even on a Saturday.
So I went to Cal, and when you walk across the campus, you look at the Pacific Ocean. And my Berkeley Bears are now part of a conference that looks at the Atlantic Ocean. So you have that, and then gambling, and the combination of these 3 that get synergistic and completely change everything we've known about college sports and start to alter pro sports. The chance there'll be a gambling scandal soon where a player will shave points or give inside info to a gambler because he's getting out of a debt, is an existential threat to people thinking it's a real game played with real rules and real parity.
Yeah, and what about the NFL? Over time, what have you seen? It's been pretty wild to think about when you look at the 1975 draft into the 80s, into the 90s, where now we're at a point where, did you ever think we'd be at and this has been for a while, but you have 13 offensive linemen drafted and maybe one running back. I mean, the running back is completely irrelevant. Parents don't have your kids grow up to be running backs. I mean,
I think Saquon Barkley will break all that loose, because eventually he's going to sign a blockbuster contract that will reset the running back market.
Okay, so you think him alone, there needed to be one guy who said, wow, and that hasn't changed. It's kind of been, even with the Chiefs. Look at the Chiefs, just interchangeable. Bring in Pacheco. Bring in, some guy for two minutes.
But Saquon Barkley, if you watched the game against Washington, is a complete franchise player who's a game changer. Back in the day, I had Thurman Thomas, and I tried to make the statistical argument that he had as much influence on the offense as did the quarterback, Jim Kelly. We didn't quite get there, but we sure got
maybe if they won one of the Super Bowls, right, that would have helped.
But we didn't get the quarterback numbers, but we got much bigger than what running back numbers have been. I think that if the timing is right and Saquon is healthy, he'll do a breakthrough contract at that position, and then everybody else will fall in line.
I'm a big Jerry Maguire fan. Obviously, came out a couple years before I went into college and got into sports business, and we've been talking for a long time. I think that piece, that movie, has kind of stood the test of time. No one's really. I mean, great acting, and yeah, sure there was some things that were fantasy, but there was integrity there too.
Well, part of my job was to vet the script to make sure the willing suspension of disbelief didn't take you out of the picture, that you thought the dialogue was real, the whole thing was real.
And did Hollywood, because Hollywood sometimes doesn't hold that bargain. Did they hold that bargain to you? Okay. Cameron Crowe?
Except for one scene. There's a time at the end of the movie where the Ray Tidwell character suffers a concussion.
Yeah.
And I told Cameron, you cannot have him jumping up in the end zone. He'd be knocked out at that point. So with the exception of a couple scenes like that, I mean, it was true to my experience.
What was it? What is that like, that's part of your legacy too?
I arrived in New Orleans last night, and someone ran up to me and said, show me the money. So that's happened virtually every week since the movie came out. I hope it humanized sports agents. Cameron Crowe spent a long time with me researching, a couple years, and he went to the league meetings, to the NFL draft where Bledsoe got drafted first. He came up to the press conference with Bill Parcells. He came to Pro Scouting Day at SC. He came to, and I told him stories, lots and lots of stories.
Amazing. I'm going to have you sign a couple of these things that I kept over time. Leigh, a pleasure to always be with you. Thank you.
Pleasure to be with you.